Hey everyone, Chrissy from Pinovate, and thank you so much for joining us today. We are creating the cutest DIY Connect 4 game. So we get to paint the pieces, assemble it, and then of course, play it at the end. So follow along and we'll make this together. Okay, so let's go through all of your supplies in your kit so we can create a Connect 4 game together. You are going to have 2 front and back pieces, as well as 2 side pieces. So these are your stands that hold the game up. You're going to have 42 little game tokens, 1 larger bracket that is for the bottom, as well as 8 smaller brackets for the inside. You're going to have some sandpaper, some makeup sponges for painting, and a selection of paint. The only other things that you might need would be some masking tape, some glue, and possibly a toothpick or a bamboo skewer, potentially if needed. So just have all of your supplies ready to go and we'll get started together. So our very first step is to prep all of our wood pieces. We are going to sand everything front and back. So both of our game pieces, our side stands, our bottom bracket, and our game tokens. Those are all the things that we are going to have to paint. The only thing that we do not have to sand are our middle brackets. So you have 8 of these middle brackets. These are not going to get painted or seen. These are actually on the inside of the game. So you can set these to the side and don't worry about sanding those. However, for everything else, we are going to get sanding. So with your sandpaper, you just need to give all of your wood pieces a nice little sand to make sure that they are prepped for your paint. Okay, I have all of my pieces sanded. Now, my work surface is pretty dusty with a lot of dust here, so I'm just gonna give it a quick wipe, and I'm gonna wipe off my pieces as well to make sure that there's no dust on them before I paint them. I'm all set to paint. So on our game piece, our front and our back here, I'm going to start painting both of these, and what I need is the color that I selected. So I'm gonna do mine blue, and I need a makeup sponge. So because we have all of these tiny little indents and holes in here, we want to be very careful that we don't get a lot of paint stuck in there, otherwise our pieces won't fit together. So we want to do 2 nice light coats on both the front and the back of both of our pieces. So with my makeup sponge, I'm going to take a small amount of paint, and then I'm actually gonna dab a fair bit off. I don't want very much on that sponge at all. So now when I'm painting, I'm gonna go directly up and down on my wood. And this is going to prevent it from getting globs of paint gooped in all of those tiny little areas. And this gives a perfect layer of paint. It's nice and thin and flat. This will dry very, very quickly and has a really great coverage on it. So I'm going to do 2 coats of this on both the front and the back of my pieces. Okay, so I have finished the front and the back of both of my playing pieces here, but I just wanted to show you a quick little trick. So you can see in this little piece here, I have way too much paint in there. And our puzzle pieces, they snap together like puzzle pieces. Okay, now if I leave that paint in there and that dries, our pieces will not fit together. So we need to get this paint out while it is still wet. So this is where you can use a toothpick or a bamboo skewer, and you're just gonna go in there and scoop all of that wet paint out. We want to make sure that all of those spaces stay as open spaces so all of our pieces fit together. Okay, so if you have any circles or rectangles that have too much paint, make sure you go in there and scoop all of that paint out. We need those pieces to be open. All right, I have finished this step. I have painted all of my base pieces, both sides with 2 coats, and I've made sure that all of my openings don't have any paint in them, so all of our pieces will fit together. So once this is dry, we're ready to move on. Okay, I am ready to start assembling our game. So with all of your unpainted brackets, these ones are going to be going vertically in the middle. So I'm going to place all of these directly into one side of our game board. They should pop in just like a puzzle piece. It should be a nice snug fit so it doesn't fall apart when we're playing. Okay, now all of these pieces will fit in nice and snug right against our game board here. If you are struggling to get them in, just try flipping it the other direction. It will definitely go in one direction. Okay, so I have all of my middle brackets placed in there. They're all nice and snug to our game board. Now I'm ready to put in the very bottom bracket right down here. Okay, so I have all of my bracket pieces assembled along the inside and the bottom. So once all my brackets are in there nice and tight, I'm just going to take the other game piece and we're gonna sandwich everything together. All right, so our Connect 4 game board is almost ready. Okay, so I'm ready to assemble my side stands here. So in order to do that, I want to make sure that the top of our game board is open and the bottom is the one with the bracket. As well as with my stand, I want to make sure that the bottom is the correct direction facing the bottom. So to assemble this, I'm actually going to take a small amount of glue and put a little bit on each of these tabs along the side here, just to ensure that this is going to stay together. Okay, so I have a little bit of glue on each of those tabs, and now I'm just going to assemble this and press this together just like a puzzle. Okay, so I have one stand assembled. It's again all nice and snug. I added that little bit of glue on the tabs to make sure that it holds. And now we're going to do the same on the other side. Perfect, so I'm gonna set this to the side and let that glue dry. And while that's drying, I'm gonna start working on my game tokens. All right, I am ready for my game tokens. Now, these guys are going to be 2 different colors. You're going to do 21 of one color and the other 21 of another color. And I'm going to do mine yellow and red. And again, this is the exact same process, the same painting manner as before with your game pieces before. Okay, so a little bit of paint, and I'm going to do 1 coat on each of my tokens, let it dry, and then do a 2nd coat. And remember that there are 2 sides, so you want to make sure that you're painting both sides. So remember, the thinner the coat, the faster it will dry. Okay, so I have 1 coat on each of my game pieces here. I'm going to let it dry, do a 2nd coat, both on the front and on the back. And if you happen to have a lighter shade of paint for your tokens, you may actually want to do 3 or 4 coats just so you have a nice, solid, vibrant color, but that is optional. So I have all of my game tokens painted, both the front and the back, and they are absolutely dry. So now that they're dry, we are ready to play. Thank you so much for following along our DIY Connect 4 game. I hope you had as much fun making it as I did, and even more fun playing it together. This is such a classic game that everybody can enjoy. So if you have a chance, please take a picture of your incredible project and tag us on Instagram at Pinovate and DIY Delivery. We love seeing all of your creations. And follow us. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all of the things. So thank you so much again for following along, and we'll see you soon.